Let me say it this way, because you know I'm always going to tell the truth, right? Okay.
All right. Welcome to the Tech School Podcast, powered by DSDT. I'm Josh.
And I am Carlos.
All right, Carlos, how's it going?
It's going well. Why the hell do you have all this Detroit Pistons stuff on?
Why is my camera not set up right? That's what I'm looking at. Like, all right, let's straighten it out a little bit. There we go.
Okay, so tell us, please, what's up with all the garb?
I like the Detroit Pistons.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
You just represent?
Yeah, I mean, this is a Detroit Axe hoodie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't never know.
I mean, we are in Detroit, Southwest Detroit to be exact.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, born and raised Detroit?
Born and raised, of course, East Side.
No wonder.
Denby High School.
Okay, I didn't ask all that, but okay.
But when you ask, you ask. Just so you know, when you ask, you ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've lived elsewhere in the country, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, I've lived in Florida, Wisconsin. Yeah. Virginia.
Where in Florida?
Fort Myers and Miami.
Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Miami. I would like to go to Miami one day.
You have not been to Miami?
I've been to Miami.
I was about to say,
I was looking at a place in Miami, actually. But at the end of the day, I don't like Florida politics. I'm just going to say it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the politics in Florida.
Okay. So, it can be interesting.
Yeah.
Florida is a different beast.
Yeah. Property. I definitely love Miami.
Mm-hmm.
We have relatives in the West Palm area.
Beautiful.
Orlando,
mm-hmm.
But I don't know if it's ever a place to live in. So
if you live in South Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be the way to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you lived in Fort Lauderdale before?
I lived in North Miami Beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is it more expensive?
In Miami?
No, North Miami Beach.
No, not as expensive as South Miami.
Okay.
Yeah. South Beach, to be exact.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, we were actually looking at property in Miami.
Miramar, Hollywood,
Brickell.
Brickell. Ooh, Brickell.
So if you wanted to compare Brickell to around Detroit, where would that be?
Ooh, I would compare Brickell to Birmingham, an elevated Birmingham.
Birmingham?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to live there.
No, but but it's still like its own city.
Okay.
Yeah, Birmingham is Birmingham, but it's small and contained. Brickell is much larger.
Oh.
So that's why I said elevated Birmingham.
See, I was looking for something like an Inkster or a Romulus. I'm just saying. I was looking for something a little more modest.
Okay, you can go to Opelika and see what's up.
Opelika?
Opelika.
I've never even heard of Opelika.
Go there and find out.
The whole crew over here is like, yeah, go to Opelika. Go to Opelika. All right.
Okay, maybe not Opelika.
Okay.
Overtown?
Overtown? I haven't been to Overtown.
Yeah. Ali used to hang out in Overtown. Muhammad Ali. When he went to Miami, he got in Overtown.
Well, guess what? I think
historic black community in
I am going to make a special trip.
Yep.
To Overtown.
Yep. And it's a historic community in South Florida.
Kind of like a Harlem?
Yes. Okay. It's like the Harlem, if you will, of Miami.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, see, I've learned something today.
Uh-huh.
And I definitively, the next time I'm in Miami, will be looking for Overtown.
Yeah, don't go to Opelika.
Don't go to Opelika?
No.
Listen.
I was only kidding.
Listen, I have a tendency.
When I reported in when I worked as a freelance reporter in Miami, Opelika was one of those areas you just don't go to.
Now, see, I have a tendency when people tell me don't go somewhere, I don't know what it is.
Carlos.
It's like, Carlos, don't put your hand on the fire.
Carlos.
You know what I'm saying? I got to get my hand on it in some shape, form, or fashion.
You may run into a machete.
A machete?
It happens.
A machete?
Am I exaggerating?
A machete. All right, we'll talk about this after. We'll talk about this after we end the broadcast. But definitively, I am going to Overton. And
Overtown.
Overtown. We're going to shoot some video of when I go to Overtown.
Overtown, go for it. Yeah, I've warned you about Opalaka.
Opalaka.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. All right. I know people who know people who know people. I just want you to know that, all right?
And they'll confirm what I just said.
No, maybe they might want to take me there. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Anyhow, anyways, Josh, we definitively, and I really didn't know if I was going to do this week.
Okay.
Right.
On a serious note.
I did not know if I would do this, and I spent a lot of time giving it some consideration, contemplating it, and I thought that today just would not be right without at least having somewhat of a conversation, right? About what has been happening in the news. And I mean, no matter where you go, no matter whether it's social media, whether you do newspapers or whatever, you can't get away from the story about Mr. Tyre Nichols. You just can't. And I mean, I don't know everything surrounding the investigation and the incident itself, but I think we all have a position, those of us who have really been paying attention to what's going on. And so I wanted to bring in, I call him more or less our ears in what's happening in the news. I wanted to bring him in and have a discussion about some of the latest developments. So why don't we just go ahead and bring on our friend, Mr. Q Lewis. Mr. Q Lewis from Eblock Radio Podcast. Q, what's going on?
You.
What up, though?
What up, though?
Q, it seemed like every time
what's going on with y'all?
He's always muted.
What up, though, Q?
Q, how are you?
All right. Don't nobody want to hear what I'm talking about.
You okay today, sir?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good to go. We got a couple things to talk about, I guess.
Absolutely. Q, I got my position in everything that unfolded, and I thought that I would do a disservice if I came out and just made my own public opinion about the turn of events. So I kind of want to have you kick us off as to some of the things for those who maybe they may have lived for the last week, I don't know, in an asylum somewhere, or they may have lived outside of any type of news facet. And remember, we got Mr. News himself here, Josh, right?
For sure.
Can you kind of give us an update as to what is surrounding what's happening with Mr. Tyre Nichols?
All right, so if you just piggybacking off of that, I guess we're looking at a situation where again, people could definitely be living under a rock, especially people who don't know what's going on in Opalaka. But we'll talk about that.
Hold on now.
You don't know what's going on in Opalaka. I can't help you.
I'm trying to tell him. I'm trying to tell him. He thinks I'm just exaggerating.
But yeah, with this situation,
yeah.
No, not at all. Go at your own risk, or at least if you go, it better be somebody that's from there going with you. You need a tour guide.
Exactly. But yes, let's get back to the topic at hand, brother.
Yeah. So with this situation, again, it's just a police. Okay, I guess I can't call it murder at this point, but it's a police killing. We'll call it
homicide investigation.
I think obviously this. Right, under investigation. And I that the difference in this one, of course, is that the I've suspected police officers are African American. I think that's a part of the bigger story. There's some newer allegations that came out this morning or maybe a couple of hours ago, which I'm not sure are true or have related. but there's some rumors that there was some type of vendetta from one of the officers towards the deceased. So I think that there's an underlying story there. I'm not sure if any of those facts are true. In either case, we're back to the same situation to where our safety, and when I say ours, I'm speaking about Black Americans, our safety in the custody of the police is questionable. And I'm not sure how many rallies or how many laws have to be changed to get from under this this thumb that's been kind of oppressing us. But there has to be, at some point, we've got to start creating or mending the relationship between Army and the police department, or this thing is just going to continue to happen. It's not like it's stopping. It's not like it's slowing down. There's more eyes on it because it's involving Black officers. But at the end of the day, for me at least, the race of the officers doesn't make a difference to me. Like, this is a situation where there's an abuse of power, Black or white. No matter who the victim is, it just happens to be a Black victim and Black officers. But this is still just a topic that I'm not sure how we can get beyond it. And when we started off this conversation talking about whether people have been locked away or under a rock or something, the thing is, a lot of people are just we've become numb to the situation, or we don't even want to allow ourselves to get sucked into the trauma. And unfortunately, this is somebody specifically. This is a Black man's trauma. This is a trauma that we deal with, but we've dealt with so much. It's almost like we're evading it, we're avoiding it. So it's a tricky situation, especially with the officers being Black. I think this changes the dynamic of a lot of things for some people. It doesn't change a thing for me, because once you put on that blue, once you put on that shield, I expect there to be a different relationship between me and you. And I believe that you are supposed to be serving and protecting. If I'm being arrested, if I'm being unruly, if things get out of hand, I understand that those situations happen. I'm not going to act like it doesn't happen. But at some point, with you being a person of authority, there needs to be a line drawn. Like, you need to know when to stop. And if any of these allegations from this morning are true about it being some kind of vendetta over an ex-girlfriend or something, then this is completely, you can make whatever example you need to out of these police officers. I know Black people saying, well, I know that they're kind of mad because I say they're like, I'm not Black, but they're saying that like they're mad because like the rush to justice because they're Black officers. At the end of the day, they need to go as fast as they need to, and if they need to make an example out of these officers, I'm sorry, Black people, it just needs to happen. I'm sorry.
Did either one of you gentlemen watch the video, full?
I did.
I did too. What about
Not
you?
at all. I did not. I elected.
No, you know
not
what?
to.
No. It's a decision you can fully respect, whether you decided to watch the video or not watch the video. There's no right or wrong. There's what's going on inside of you when making that choice, and that's a decision that has to be respected on all fronts. I watched it because I thought it was important to see. It was important to
Want to
see
see what happened?
what happened to Tyre Nichols. It was important to see several men who took an oath to serve and protect, the actions they took against one single man. And alluding to your point, Q, it was important to see how several Black men who took an oath to serve and protect conducted themselves in the actions they took against another Black man. Where you had Tyre Nichols, if you had to guess, maybe 150, 180 pounds, guessing his weight, just guessing. Yeah. And you look at these officers involved in this tragedy, all bigger guys, about 220, 250, workout, trained officers physically. as I'm watching the video, one of the things that stuck out to me was, you're telling me 5 or 6 trained police officers, roughly 250 pounds, could not find a way to restrain one individual who was not armed. Maybe he was high. Maybe he was, they were saying in the video that they believe he was high on something. Whatever the case may be, that has nothing to do with the tragedy and the actions they took against him. That has nothing to do with it.
Josh, I will say it does.
Go for it.
And I'm going to tell you why.
Go for it. Go for it.
As you're watching that video, and I think that everyone should watch the video.
But understand, it's a personal choice. It's a personal choice.
But I go back to the mother of Emmett Till.
Okay.
That wanted the entire world to see what happened to her baby.
Yeah.
That video was important as what happened to George Floyd. Everybody in the world needs to see that video. Mm-hmm. Now, as I'm watching the video and I hear these brothers saying how superhuman he felt, he behaved, or how he must have been on drugs. One, I felt as though they were trying to use that as a scapegoat.
That's why I say it doesn't matter.
But two,
and how they restrained him, or how they caused physical harm.
It's important to me to hear them say that because of this. Have you ever fought for your life before? Have you ever had 5 people attack you and you thought you were going to die? Now, I can only imagine, as small as he was, mm-hmm. and as big as they were, mm-hmm. it felt to them like he was Superman because he was fighting for his life. And he knew that. He knew that from the moment they drug him out of the car. He kept saying he hadn't done anything wrong. All the more reason why we have the charges of kidnapping now, because he never did anything wrong. So I don't know about you, but there's a certain sense that comes over you when you feel as though this is your last breath. And either you're going to fight for the next one, or you're just going to succumb to what's taking place. They were beating this brother within inches of his life at that moment. No, you can't handcuff me like you thought you could, just the guy you did a few moments ago. Because I'm fighting.
Where I'm hitting at, Carlos, about whether or not he was high or intoxicated, whatever the case may have been, why that doesn't matter is because you have half a dozen officers who took that oath to serve and protect. It is their responsibility, whatever the situation may have been, to find a way to restrain him without taking his life.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree 1,000% with it doesn't happen that way.
No, that's not the reality.
It never is reality.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, we wouldn't continue to have this conversation every other day.
Very true.
Every other day. Mm-hmm. As I'm thinking about whether or not we can talk about it today, it's like, every time we look up, this is happening in our society. When is enough enough? And I'm sorry, I just got to see it like it is. I always say it like it is, right? I really don't care about Biden sending down a message for y'all to come to the White House so we can talk about it again. I don't care about it. I'm tired of talking. I'm tired of hearing the discussion. When are we going to pass legislation in which, just like the CSCs or the felons, we have a database of who've done X, Y, and Z? One of these perpetrators just had a lawsuit filed against them. I think it was 2019, in which in the county jail, as he was a correction officer, did the same type of behavior. Mm-hmm. Now, if that was a database and we had access to it, we would have known that. And so why do we keep having these futile conversations about what we can do as opposed to getting it done. That's where I'm at with it. I don't want to talk about it no more. I don't want to talk about it no more. I want action. I want this to be the last incident where this happens. They, took the initiative. They terminated everybody off. Not everybody. Let me back up and say that again. Not everybody, right? They terminated the first 5. Mm-hmm. And as the investigation is going on, they've terminated 3 more, plus 1 is suspended. Mm-hmm. Let my wife say it. She said it the best last night. With pay, mm-hmm. Mr. Preston Hempfield, to be exact.
Right.
And I won't even go into that. But at the same time, we have this incident that it's been a rush to kind of like get in the front of it. We've terminated them. We released the video. Okay, so this could be perhaps the
there's more transparency because sadly enough, we've been through this scenario countless times.
Yeah.
Therefore, does law enforcement have a playbook to go by?
There is no playbook for it.
Does the justice system have a playbook to go by, if you will, in terms of being transparent with the public now?
They don't, and they should. They should. There should
if they did, we wouldn't be dealing with this.
So exactly, right? Yeah. Enough of the conversation. Yeah. Write the playbook.
Mm-hmm. But in terms of
facts. There you go.
Suspended the officers, filing charges, releasing the video, because they're at some point there would be an outpour to see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Therefore, you get that part right after dealing with this situation so many times.
Yeah. I don't even know if there's a way to get it right. It's just, so
that's what I'm concerned about. I don't think there is.
There's no way to get it right.
No. Let me say this real quick, and I'll let you guys have it. Mm-hmm. So when I'm in Dubai back in November, one of the things I noticed that on the news, it's certain stuff you just don't see.
Okay.
You don't see where somebody walked into a mosque and shot everything up. You don't see you don't see homeless people on the street. I'm saying you just don't see certain things in Dubai. From the media perspective, I think that we need to tone down some of the images and some of the information that's conveyed constantly to the public, because to a degree, this fuels those. If I can
give me an example, if you can.
Well, copycat syndrome, right?
Give me an example of just. I think I know where you're going with this, but I want to see where you are first, because I think I can meet you halfway there.
We have your Trayvon Martins.
Okay.
Right? Uh-huh. With George Zimmerman. We have George Floyd. I mean, that's literally like how many years later? Mm-hmm. It seems like we're still having the same repetitive thing that happens. And all we seem to get from time to time is an influx of media images, information. Whereas if it wasn't so broadcast, to me, it wouldn't be as of an issue. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I have to disagree there respectfully, because
I expected you to. You're the media man.
Because
right.
The reality is, Carlos, without it being put out there as much as it is in modern day world, we wouldn't be getting anything done, because Tyre Nichols, Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, that has happened long before those brothers lost their lives.
True.
And I'm not talking about during the civil rights era. I'm talking about 70s, 80s, 90s. I mean, think about all the brothers and sisters who may have been in similar situations, who were killed in similar scenarios that we will never know about.
From that perspective,
hear me
I
out.
agree.
Hear me out.
I agree.
When I worked in Fort Myers, Florida, it's ironic you bring up where I worked.
Okay.
It's ironic you bring that up. When I worked in Fort Myers, Florida, I was the only black male on the air out of all 4 TV stations. there was certain racism I dealt with, certain anxiety going into work. One night, I had a few to drink. I was pulled over for DUI, something I've always owned up to. But during that incident, the officers were pretty rough. Where I complied, I got out, I took the sobriety test, I followed the orders of the officers to where they still lost their cool. I complied. I didn't run away. I didn't fight back. I didn't talk back. I didn't do anything. But I still got slammed on my own car by one officer, and his partner pointed a gun at my damn head.
Why?
Why does it ever happen?
Because they could.
Because they could.
Right, because they can.
And that was before Trayvon Martin, and that was before George Floyd. And sadly enough, that was before Tyre Nichols. When you had the body camera footage, and this was front and center. I thank God that my mother taught me as a kid, whenever you do run into law enforcement, do exactly what they say, no matter what. Otherwise, you may not make it out of that situation.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, this is not a broad brush against law enforcement, because I have a lot of friends who are law enforcement. I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, we
absolutely.
Chief James White, City of Detroit, excellent brother.
Yeah. We know some good ones.
Oakland County Sheriff's Office, Macomb County Sheriff's Office, et cetera, et cetera. Love and respect for a lot of those brothers and sisters who serve and protect. Just saying, as a black man raised by my mother, I thank God I was taught those lessons as a kid. If you ever encounter police, do exactly what they say in that situation if you want the best chance of making it out alive. Yeah. Because had I made the wrong move, I would have got my damn head
that's
blown.
crazy, though.
Yeah. Wow.
That's crazy, though, that we even have to live that way.
I was 23, 24 years old at the time when that happened.
Q, I have one question for you. And we definitely got a whole lot of show happening today. Q, if there was anything that this young man could do different that perhaps wouldn't have escalated this event, what do you see that as being, or if anything?
I mean, I guess probably this is probably a tough question for me because I didn't actually watch the video. So the only thing I can say is that this is a tough thing. The only thing that you can do is comply, but secondary to that, somehow, even when you are possibly being emasculated or being bullied, you still have to keep your cool. So like, you got to be the only one who can try maintain integrity at that point. And it sucks that I have to say that because I have to either lie there and take it, have my be emasculated, be bullied, just in order to survive a traffic stop. That's humiliating when you just think about it out loud, right? Yeah. But it's kind of, you have to do that. Like you literally have to do that, and that sucks. Conversation that you want to have with your son, but it's a conversation that you have to have with your son. And then this is a world that we live in, and I'm not sure what laws or stipulations or whatever you want to call them, anything that you put into place, I'm not really sure what's going to correct that, other than people acting like they got some damn sense. And until people act like they got some damn sense, we in trouble. No law's gonna change that.
Yeah. I want to leave with this thought. I've definitely had my run-in with officers, right? And I got the war wounds to tell you about it.
For sure.
The one thing that I've learned in my short 50 years in all the interactions that I've had with law enforcement is whenever, and this, so we hear and we do education, different forms of education throughout this podcast. But for those that are a part of the community and they hear these, and I'm always told that, Carlos, I listen to your podcast, blah, 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 blah. But listen, if you ever come in contact with an officer, whether you have a bad day, a good day, or whatever, this should be your thought process. Don't argue. Yeah, I know your mother taught you X, Y, and Z, and daddy said this. I'm telling you, do not argue with them, right? Because that's what the courts are for. Whatever the issue is that you have on the side of the roadway, or as they walk into wherever you might be and they're having a bad day, or they want to ask you a million questions, don't argue with them, because you're not going to win. You're talking to a robot.
You're not winning that situation.
Absolutely. You're never going to win. So
right.
Wait until, if there's a court date, whether you get a ticket, whether you get a charge or whatever, but wait to take your position in the court. Then you can argue all you want to and don't have to worry about them, throwing you on the back of a car or, breaking your leg or whatever the case may be. But take that as a form of advice, because I know all too well now. I've got tickets over the last few years. I don't argue on the side of the road no more, right? I don't do that, because I've learned there's a place for it, and it's called the courtroom. And there, I can argue till I'm blue in the face. All right. Q, I thank you, sir. I want to appreciate you again, because you always show up and show out. That's what you do over at Eblock Radio Podcast. Can you tell everybody how they could, if possibly, follow you on all these wonderful social media channels that you have?
Yeah, definitely. Best thing to do is just check us out on the website, eblockradio.com, and IG at q.lewis13. You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Q. Holding it down live from the 48205 Red Zone, baby.
Q, thank you, man. We appreciate you, and we look forward to having you again, brother. All right, man. Yeah, definitely had to have a conversation about that.
Understood.
Yes, we need to talk about current affairs sometimes, and a lot of times they're not going to be about your tech news. I'm just saying, they're definitely not going to be about your tech news. But if
there's any tech spin on it, as you just alluded to, if you're in a situation on the side of the road, comply.
Absolutely.
Because you're not going to win that argument, that situation at that given moment. But with technology, you do have body cameras.
That part. They're supposed to work.
They're supposed to work.
And speaking of technology,
and that's part of what you can always use in court. That's the reason they're supposed to be used at all times.
Supposed to be.
Yes.
Key word in there. Supposed to be.
Yes. All right, Amber Boone in the building, going to pivot the conversation.
Absolutely. I think she needed to take us there.
Yeah, I'm like, how do I even follow that? we just jump right into it. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yes, it's definitely a pivot, Amber. But hey, just lighten the mood a little bit. It was definitely a needed conversation. But let's get to some fun stuff to help our viewers enjoy the podcast a tad bit more at the moment.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on in the tech world?
So the Apple is coming out, or should I say reintroducing the HomePod. I don't know if y'all remember back in I want to say 2018, they introduced the HomePod and put a complete into it in 2021 and decided to come back out with it in 2023. So a lot of people are asking why, like, what is the purpose? And the answer is simply user demand. Like, people wanted it. So Apple listened. It's basically your Amazon Echo Dot or your, home, Google Home or whatever, but it's the HomePod. So it is, to me, the way that I make sense of it, it's like the home that you have on your iPhone. So you say, hey, Siri. I had to look. My phone and computer both was about to answer me, so I had to hurry up and silence them. But so you say that, and then, your Apple Home will answer you. And so, that's pretty much all that it is. It's probably the most design I guess, friendly or the design that looks the best out of all of the home products. And it's connects with all of your things, right? To make your home a smart home. So you can connect it to your lights. You can connect it to your thermostat. You can connect it to anything. So you can ask it, what is the difference between the temperature inside my house and outside? And it will tell you things like that.
So is it better than the Amazon Alexa?
I don't know that it's necessarily better, but I think it's just, again, like, are you an Android user or an Apple user? Like, for me, I have the Alexa and I use it. However, I had it for years before I started using it, just because I'm an Apple person. Had I had an Apple Home pod, I probably would have used it a lot, just because I'm really familiar with Apple, the interface, and how everything works. So I think that for those like Apple heads who are just completely into the MacBooks and the AirPods and the everything pods, whatever, this is probably the way to go.
Okay. Because I have true story. I had to upgrade my internet service at the house, or my cable service.
Yeah.
I literally have business grade internet at the house, and I'm like the top tier, because I have like maybe 125 devices connected to my Alexa.
Oh my goodness.
I have Alexa in every room, Josh.
Wow.
Every room except for the bathroom.
Scary.
I think it's that then some. So I'm trying to figure out whether or not this is better than what I have already in my setup.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that it might be better, but it might be because you have so many devices connected. And do you have a MacBook? Do you have an iPhone? What kind of?
I have everything.
Okay,
Literally.
so all Apple products?
I'm like ambidextrous.
Okay.
So I can use a Mac, a PC. It doesn't matter. I use it.
I have an Android phone that I use. I'm supposed to use mostly for business, but I transfer everything to my iPhone because I'm more comfortable with Apple products. So even though I have an Android, I hardly ever use it. And it took me forever to use the Alexa. So for me, like, I definitely think that I would use something like this more. And I like Siri. I don't know. It's just like I was watching this thing on TikTok the other day where they had like Alexa, Siri, and what is it? The Google Home voice. They had like all the different voices or whatever. They all have like different personalities and stuff. So it's like, who do you like better? I'm like, I don't know. I like Siri.
All right. Well, I don't know if I'll give it a try anytime soon, because that means I would have to tear apart my setup. I can't do it just yet. All right. So, and what's going on with this ring?
So this is really cool. I'm excited about this. So this is a smart ring by Movano. And I've seen a number of these from different brands over the last few years, but this one is putting women first, simply just making it more design friendly for women, and also incorporating some of the things that women like to keep track of, like their menstrual cycle, mood tracking, menopause. And it's also, they are in the works with the FDA to get certain approvals to do like, I want to say like diabetes testing or something like that, like blood sugar testing or something. So, I mean, like, super smart watch, something that is design friendly that you could wear. I'm excited about this. I think, so they're hoping to release it in the United States by the middle of this year with a price point well under $300. So affordable I would say it's pretty affordable for most people. So kind of like your Fitbit or your, Apple, your whatever kind of fitness tracker you're currently using. But like for me, I have an Apple Watch. I hardly ever wear it. It's bulky. It doesn't go with everything. So I wear it all the time. But a ring, especially if it's the right design, I feel like I might actually use more.
Yeah. And so it's able to keep up with all of these womanly things.
Yes, which a lot of women have apps on their phone already to keep track of these things, or at least they should. If you don't, you should.
Carlos, no need to figure it out. Just understand. Just understand. Just go with it. If it makes a woman's life easier, roll with it.
I want to know if my wife are using these apps and rings. I've seen a couple of new rings. I'm gonna have to check it.
So like I saw, this is something like I would even wear something like this in place of my wedding ring as my wedding ring, like on my ring finger, and just wear that because it serves the purpose.
You think your husband's gonna go for that?
Well, okay, let me help out a little bit. If she's working, running errands, things. I mean, think about how expensive the wedding ring might be anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's a rock, do you really wanting your wife to wear it every single wear?
Oh, I just have one question. So does it have GPS on it?
I don't know. That's interesting.
If it doesn't have GPS,
yeah.
But I would imagine that it does, only because a lot of the fitness apps and the fitness trackers have to have some sort of GPS to track like your miles ran, walk, things like that, or like your routes. So I would imagine that it has some sort of GPS.
Great then. I agree. All women should have one.
Carlos?
All women.
Just understand.
This is a beautiful ring. Everybody, I think the entire world should have.
Amber, I'm trying, not succeeding. I tried.
Wow. Yeah. Amber, what's going on in Instagram?
Okay, so Instagram's, so it's the co-founders. They're introducing a new social app specifically for news reading. Now, I just thought this was interesting because I'm kind of like, why? But I'm also always intrigued by new apps and things like that. Like, what do they think the benefit of this is going to be? So basically, it's like your Apple News, which it comes standard on your iPhone. So it's very much like that, except for it also kind of functions like a social media feed in that you can follow certain publications and interact with them. There's comment interfaces, things like that. So it is very much a news reading app, but it functions like a social media app. So it's a little bit different than your like Apple News or stuff like that.
Okay.
Do we need this?
I think a lot of people will use it. I feel like it's a baby between Twitter and Apple News. So, Twitter is like a micro news feed where you can make comments and share things quickly. I think it's easily digestible. Like, people want to get their news in an easily digestible way. And the problem with sites like Facebook where you consume news is that there's a lot of misinformation. And I think that an app like this provides us with the opportunity to get, I won't say real news from real sources, but you know what I mean? Like journalistic. Wait,
You saw Mr. News over here perk up.
I got to remember who my audience is when I'm talking.
Yeah, right. Mr. News, Josh, do you think that we're not going to have as many journalists once we get this app up and going?
Well, this is still coming from, that was my point, is that it's still coming from journalists. It's still, real news. I can't not do that.
It's still coming from real news sources.
There you go. It's still coming.
Got it.
Sources.
Okay.
Versus on
I'm
Facebook.
only kidding. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But versus on Facebook, it's very easy to share, fake sites, misinformation, fake news, things like that, or your opinion sometimes overclouds the actual news that you're sharing. Whereas I feel like a site like this is going to provide you, again, the opportunity to kind of have those real news sources and be able to converse around them without the extra noise from your traditional social media site.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. Well, hopefully they won't get that up and running no time soon. I'm just saying. Amber, again, we want to thank you for taking out time of your busy schedule to come and keep us up to date with what's happening in tech news. And I'm glad you're still here.
Yes, thank you for having me so much.
I'm glad you're still here. I follow Amber on social media. She had a lot going on this past week. A lot going on. And again, I'm thankful that you're still here. Continue to come by and bless us, and we appreciate you, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Amber Boone, everybody. Wow. And I'll tell you why afterwards.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Why
Yeah, I wouldn't dare ask in the moment like that. No.
So we've been talking the last few months about this new medical assistant diploma program DSDT is starting.
Okay.
and I wanted to make sure that we got some airtime with the faculty that's going to be responsible for running that program.
All right.
So we want to make sure that we allow them a few moments, if you will, to come on and kind of explain to our student body exactly what the program is about, the opportunities that are available in it, and how a person might get involved with the program. All right. So those individuals are, what happened to them? Somewhere here. It's supposed to be somewhere here, right? They are Melanie Cronk, Belinda Morales, and Marcellous Demps. I got a question for him about that Demps name too. Hold me to that, if you will, please, Larry. All right, why don't we just go ahead and bring them on? If Larry, cue us up. Let's get them in here, please. Everybody, again, we got Belinda, Melanie, and Marcellous.
Where's Marcellous? Oh, there you go. No, it's not Marcellous.
How you guys doing?
Good. Doing good, man.
All right, I'm gonna let you guys tell us who you are, what your position is, without me having to do it, because I'm gonna fumble through it. All right. So why don't we start with Mrs. Melanie?
Hi, I'm Melanie. I'm the Medical Assistant Program Director. Thank you for letting me be on here with you fellas. It's been definitely an interesting listen, but we're excited to get this program up and running. From what I understand, there's a lot of feedback from a lot of students wanting to come take the program. And I'm going to let Marcellous explain a little bit about the curriculum and the things that we do as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so which one of you guys are Marcellous?
Marcellous?
My name is Marcellous. How are you guys?
Oh, that's Marcellous. Well, if that's Marcellous, who's the lady sitting next to you then?
Belinda.
This is Belinda.
Okay, so that's Belinda. I was just wondering because I didn't get her name.
Marcellous.
Okay, Marcellous and Belinda. Great. Marcellous, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty fair. Josh.
Yes.
Josh has 1,000,005 questions. He kind of wants to take you guys up on. Go ahead and shoot us.
All right, and ladies and gents, just go ahead and answer as you will freely. Okay, so give us an idea as far as an overview of the medical assistance program. What is it exactly?
I can answer that for you.
All right.
So the medical assistant program is basically a course that you will be taking, and you will be learning the ins and outs of a medical assistant. So the medical assistant usually helps nurses and doctors with small procedures, such as ear irrigations, suture removal, casting. These are the things that you're going to learn, and you're going to take that with you into your career.
Okay, so tell me more about the hands-on experience and training for students.
The hands-on training. So a lot of it isn't hands-on. Most of it is clerical. There's multiple parts. There's clerical and clinical. So the hands-on part will be the clinical parts, which we just discussed, the procedures. There's multiple of those that you'll be learning. You'll learn the ins and outs of how to use electronic medical records, which are programs that the health facilities use to navigate patient records, such as medications, medical history, things like that.
Okay, let me bring in Melanie and Belinda.
Hi.
Are there any opportunities for students to work on real-world projects or internships during this program?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, actually, once the program is complete, they are required to do a 200-hour externship at places like DMC and other area, facilities that are, as you know, since COVID, a lot of things in the medical field have changed as far as staffing and retention and things of that nature that are really impacting patient care at the moment. And the more students that we can graduate and get through the externship programs, the better that'll be, better situation that'll be for them.
Absolutely. What about how does the program integrate technology and current industry practices into your curriculum?
Our curriculum is it's definitely state of the art. It's a hybrid program. So they'll do a lot of learning online. They'll get lectures. They'll come in and we'll do different clinical training aspects like EKGs, how to give injections, how to remove sutures and staples, take vitals. Like Marcellous, just to add on to what he said about minor surgical procedures. Anything really that the doctor would need help with, or a nurse, is where the medical assistant comes in and plays a big role in how that office or that facility is going to function.
All right.
So are you guys like doctors? Nurses?
Well,
what is it?
We're underpaid doctors, if you will.
How so?
As a medical assistant, you learn a lot. You learn what kind of diseases affect people and what you need to do to assist the doctor in mending those diseases. You learn about the body, which doctors know. So when you learn about the body, obviously there's multiple parts of the body and it's very detailed. And we go over all of that, from muscles to the heart, the brain. You'll be very knowledgeable.
Okay.
What about the qualifications and experience of the faculty teaching the program?
So myself, I have about 10 years as a medical assistant.
Me personally, Josh, I've been in the medical field. Next year will be 31 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
and I've been a nurse, a licensed practical nurse, for about 27 years.
All right. So we have a wealth of knowledge. Great to know.
And I've been a doctor. I just want to let you guys know I've been a doctor. Dr. Dre and I have been a doctor for the past 40 years. I'm just saying.
Right.
You said you use WebMD every day.
I have an honorary PhD.
What kind of opportunities are available for students to network with industry professionals or alumni?
Well,
So this
they
is a
can
new
go.
program.
We provide them with clinics or urgent cares. We have hospitals that they'll be going to for their externship, and then possibly we place them when they're finished with the program. We supply them with all kinds of supplies. We have everything. We teach them to be a phlebotomist. We do x-rays. We do sterile techniques. We do mini surgeries. We're going to be very well-rounded. And we have financial aid. We help everybody out. And we're the state of the art on everything here.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
great job.
my final question, how does the program support students in finding opportunities after graduation? What's that next step?
The next step would be the externship. So
Yeah.
Seems like we had a loss there. Marcellus, you want to take that question?
Yes, sir. Currently, we are partnered with several different healthcare facilities, from hospitals to urgent cares to small internal medicine doctor offices that are private practices. So when we place these students in externships, they have the opportunity to present themselves as a great employee. And when that happens, sometimes these partnerships will take on the students as actual employees. Now, if that doesn't happen, we as the school also put them in a position to to go talk to other facilities and be notified. I'm looking for the word for it. To be, I can't find the word for it. We put them in a position where.
What's your thought behind it?
We put them in a position where even if they don't get the job at the externship, there's still opportunities for them to be able to get a job.
Okay, fair enough. Well, Mr. Marcellous, we want to thank you for taking out time of your busy schedule to come and explain a little bit of the program for us. I see that your other team that had technical difficulties are kind of swarming behind you in the background, Miss Belinda.
Yeah, they came out of nowhere.
Yeah, right. Again, we want to thank you. Definitely want to get this in our content somewhere because I know that we've had a number of inquiries about the program. I think it's going to be sensational for those that are looking to get into the field. If you could part with us and give just a brief synopsis of the type of individual that you think would be well in this type of program, what would that look like?
I think anyone who loves to help people be great for this program. I love helping people. I think I was put here to help people, so it led me to the medical field. And medical assisting is a great basis for anything that you want to take into the medical field in general. So let's say you want to be a nurse. Let's say you want to be a doctor. If you want to start somewhere, medical assisting is a great start.
Wow. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you, and we look forward to having another conversation with you in the near future, all right?
Thank you.
Oh, Carlos, you kind of took us on a roller coaster today as far as conversation.
It sounded like we got a lot going on around here.
Yeah,
you see all these happy faces we got over here today, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
I'm
not talking about you.
Hey.
All right. So, and speaking of which, you got your man Larry over here on the ones and twos, right? You got the first class PA, Mr. Joe over here.
Right.
Did a phenomenal job. Give that guy a round of applause. Can we please? Can we give him a round of applause? And speaking of which, now, remember last week I told you that we're going to start doing this segment called Why DSDT.
Right.
Why DSDT? Mm-hmm. Well, this week, our students here at DSDT have put together a piece on a student. Her name is Mirrie Moore. Maria Moore. And Maria wants to tell us why she chose DSDT over the other options that she had. So we want to cue that up and run it, if you will, Larry.
Hi, my name is Mirrie Moore. I'm a student here at DSDT, and my reason why for DSDT is the in-person, hands-on opportunities. I can come in and make a commercial with my classmates and build websites, and also the online opportunity to be at home with my children because I'm a single mother, and also it fits my budget. So that's my reason why for DSDT.
Money talks.
There it is.
There it is.
Cool. Now I'm going to bring the producer of that actual shot here in a couple weeks, and we're going to talk about that.
That was all created on a phone?
Oh, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. What? A phone.
A phone.
It was all shot with a mobile device. We want to get into a conversation about that. But again, today has been definitely a great one for discussion. Josh, I appreciate you showing up in your Detroit garb.
Oh.
And he puts the hat back on.
Let's get it.
Oh, man, listen, thank you. You are appreciated.
Likewise, brother. Thank you. My pleasure. Great conversation. Great dialogue today. Great dialogue. All right. In the meantime, that will do it for the Tech School Podcast, powered by DSDT. Apologize for earlier in the newscast. We got some people in the classroom behind us learning, doing their thing, a little rambunctious on this Tuesday, but nevertheless, it's all good. Again, that will do it for the Tech School Podcast, powered by DSDT. See you next week. See ya.